Is the best strike price to choose when selling covered calls? Now, there is no one answer for this. It's going to really depend on what type of individual you are. So let me explain that. Let's first go over to plug for this video here. So I'm going to go over to plug power, and then we'll go over to the options for plug. So here we are on the options for plug power. Now again, we're focusing on selling covered calls. So I'm going to go here to sell and then calls. And again, covered calls, not naked calls. I never recommend naked calls. So first of all, let me go quickly through what selling covered calls means and how it works. So first of all, in order to sell a covered call, you do need to own 100 shares of that stock. So if I wanted to sell a call on Plug Power, I do have to own 100 shares of Plug Power. I don't, but let's just assume I do for this video here. Now let's say I wanted to sell this call right here with a strike price of $26. So here's what's going to happen when I sell this call. First of all, you as the seller, you're going to receive a premium. The premium you're going to receive is under the price over here. So I'm going to receive 74 cents here per share. Each contract controls 100 shares. That's why you need 100 shares to sell a call. So I'm going to receive 74 cents per share or $74 for the entire contract. Now, of course, the other thing you need to figure out is what expiration date you want to choose. I actually just made a video on what the best expiration date is. Go check that out. So we'll just leave it as May 21st. So on May 21st, at the expiration date, at the end of the day, two things can happen. Either the plug power is $26 or above, or plug power is under $26 a share. Let's assume it's $26 or above. What's going to happen if I sell this call? Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to have to sell my shares, my 100 shares at the strike price I chose, $26 a share, which would be okay if I bought 100 shares right now at $24.76 and I sell them at $26. I'm making a profit on my shares as well. Plus, again, I received a $74 premium. Now, on the other hand, if plug power stays under 26 and it's the expiration date, end of the day, then I just keep my shares and I can do whatever I want with them. I can sell a call for the next week. I can just sell them, whatever, but I still keep that premium as well. So that's how selling covered calls works. Now, the other thing you guys need to understand is a term called moneyness. Moneyness is the relationship between an option strike price and the underlying stock current share price. So there's three different terms here. At the money is basically where the strike price is as close to the share price as possible. So share price right now is $24.76. The closest strike price to that would be the $25 strike. So this would be considered an at the money option. There's in the money. In the money is where the strike price is below the current share price. So that would be all of these options down here. These are also going to be more expensive. Finally, we have out of the money here. So that's where the strike price is higher than the current share price. That would be these options up here. They're also going to be cheaper. That's out of the money. So now that we understand that, I just want to quickly mention two drawbacks when it comes to covered calls. First one is when there's a big drop in the share price. If I buy 100 shares of Plug Power right now, I'm going to pay $2,476. If I sell an out of the money option, let's say I sell this $29 strike option, I'm only receiving $24. What if Plug Power drops to $20 a share? Well, yes, I'm getting some money to protect my downside, but only $24. If Plug Power drops to $20 right now, I'm down $480 on my investment. Yes, plus $24. So two drawbacks, of course, is if there's a big drop and you're selling an out of the money option, there's very little downside protection there. On the other hand, is if there's a big pop and you're not selling out of the money option. So if I buy 100 shares right now and I sell this call option here at the 25 strike, and then tomorrow Plug Power goes to, for example, $30 a share, well, now I'm going to probably have to sell my shares at $25 a share, and Plug Power is going to be around $30. Let's say it's around $30 on the expiration date. Well, now I'm missing out on a lot of gains. I'm still making money because I would sell at 25 and I would still get a premium, but I could have made a lot more if I would have chosen a higher strike. So those are kind of the two drawbacks here. So with all that being said, let's get into what the perfect strike price is. And this is going to depend on what type of individual you are. So there's three different types of individuals who sell covered calls. let's start with the first one here. And you're going to have to decide which type of individual you want to be. So the first individual is the one who sells covered calls strictly for income. Okay, this individual doesn't care whether or not he or she is assigned, whether or not they need to sell their shares. They just want to make money. And so when it comes to this individual, then the best option is going to be selling in the money calls. And let me explain why. If you're this type of individual that just only wants it to sell calls for income, you want to also make sure that you reduce your risk, right? Because if you're not a longer term investor, you're just trying to generate some income, you want to minimize your risk because you probably don't want to hold these shares for a very long time if things go wrong. And so since you only care about income, selling in the money calls makes a lot more sense. So let me explain. If I were to sell this call right here, which is in the money at the $23 strike, now you may be wondering, well, why would I ever do this, right? Because if on expiration, Plug Power is around this price, I'm going to have to sell my shares at $23 a share, right? As long as Plug is above $23, I'm going to have to sell my shares at $23 a share. So let's imagine on expiration date, it's the same share price. I would sell my shares at 23. But if I'm buying them right now for $24.80 and selling them for 23, I am going to be losing a little bit of money, right? I'm going to be losing $1.80 per share or $180 just because of that. But you got to remember, you're receiving a premium. I'd receive $235 for selling this call. So yes, I am losing $180 from buying them at $24.80 and selling them at $23, but I'm getting $235 over here. So in other words, I'd still make $55. And that may not sound like a lot of money, but if you do this every single week and you're making about $55 every single week, you'd end up making about $3,000, close to $3,000 in a year, which is over a 100% return if you're just using up $2,480. So that's still a pretty good return. So by selling in the money options, you're reducing your risk. And you're still going to get pretty big returns with more downside protection. Yes, you are leaving some money on the table, but it's better than leaving the table without any money. And so let me just quickly show you how this would look like here. If we go over to the options profit calculator, let's actually take a look at this here. So here's Plug. So again, we're imagining we're buying 100 shares right now. And if we only care about income, we don't care about our shares being assigned, then we can sell in the money call options. And we sold a $23 strike, which is right here. And I'll do 15 to 35 here. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So as you can see, my max return in this scenario is $42 because this is a little bit delayed here. $42, which is still a pretty great return. And as you can see, my break even is $22.58. So yes, again, I'm leaving some money on the table, but I am reducing my risk because my break even is a lot less. So this is the first scenario here. Again, if you're only interested in generating income, you're better off selling in the money call options. Now let's go back here. Now we have the second type of individual. This individual is selling covered calls for long-term investing, for making some extra income on the side while these long-term investments go up in price. This is also the type of individual that I am. And so in this situation, then, we do care about getting assigned. We do want to avoid having to sell our shares. And so then it wouldn't make sense to sell in the money call options because that's more likely that you're going to be assigned and have to sell your shares in the money. And so with this type of individual, we want to be choosing out of the money call options. Now, this is going to depend on you. I always like to tell people that you should choose a strike price that you're comfortable selling your shares at in case something happens, the stock goes up 20, 30, 40%. But of course, you also kind of need to balance it out with the premium, right? You don't want to be selling calls here where you're only going to receive, $1, $2. That really isn't going to make much sense. You still want to make a little bit of money, but again, you should be comfortable selling at that price in case it does hit that price. So for example, I could sell the $29 strike call option here, because let's say I'm comfortable selling my 100 shares at $29 a share, I'm still receiving a decent premium, $24. Now that's not going to give me a lot of downside protection, but again, as a long-term investor, I'm probably not worried about what happens in the next week and the next month, maybe even the next year, because I'm investing in the stock for the long term. So let's take a look at what this would look like, and we can compare the two here. So let's go over here to a different tab. Again, the options profit calculator, the covered call calculator. So let's take a look here at plug. So again, let's just imagine we're buying 100 shares right now. But as a longer term investor, we do care about being assigned. So in this scenario, we're going to sell the $29 strike. And so let's do 15 to 35 here. And let's calculate this. So now this is what this looks like. So in this situation, my max return is going to be a lot more, right? Because I'm choosing the 29 strike. And if plug power goes all the way to 29, above 29, I sell my shares at 29, I make more money. So yes, I'm making more money like this. But I have a lot more risk that I need to take, because if you look at my break even here is only $24.69. If plug is under $24.69, I'm losing money, right? If we go to the other one, my break even is $22.58, right? A lot lower. So again, depending on what type of individual you are, if you are someone who likes to just do this to generate income, strictly income, you probably want to stay within the money call options. If you're a longer term investor just looking to make some extra income on the side, probably better off with out of the money call options here. Now, we also have one other type of individual. This is the individual who wants to sell covered calls with technical analysis, maybe a day trader or someone who does this for a living. And with this type of individual, the strike price you choose will really depend on your analysis of the stock. If a stock is dropping, for example, and we can actually show the chart here. So let's say plug power is dropping, for example, which it has dropped a bit in the last month or last 3 months. If you're this type of individual, you may take a look at key support levels, for example, and you may see that it's consolidating, it's holding a support level. Thus, you might consider selling a call at that strike price. Or on the other hand, if the stock is going up, so for example, plug power did go up a little bit. If a stock resistance level, maybe you think it's going to break it and go even higher, you could sell a call at that strike price to maximize how much you sell your shares for. So that's going to be the third type of individual, someone with a lot of technical analysis. And again, the strike price you're going to choose there then is going to depend on your analysis of the stock. Again, I'm the second type of individual. I'm more of a longer term investor. So I usually sell out of the money options, again, at strikes that I'm comfortable selling at. And of course, that will also depend on catalysts coming up, things of that nature. So as you can see, guys, again, depending on what type of individual you are, you may want to sell in the money call options or maybe even at the money call options versus, out of the money call options. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Check out the Discord and BlockFi, link to that in the description below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time.